Hey, how's it going? Today I wanted to address and talk to the people that are moving out for the first time. Whether you're an adolescent and you're planning to move out, get your first apartment for the first time, or if you've been having roommates for years and years and years and you're planning on moving and living on your own for the first time, or if you had a breakup, blah, 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 whatever. If you're moving out and you're going to be living on your own for the first time, I want to say first off, congratulations. And I'm definitely biased. I love living alone, and it's just something that I've learned to love and appreciate. I moved out whenever I was 18, and uh, I've only had to go back maybe a few times, adding up total to less than 3 years. I rounded up significantly. Uh, But there's a few things that I would like to talk to you about when it comes to moving out, planning it, et cetera, et cetera. There's the number one thing, in my opinion, is you gotta have confidence in yourself and your ability to figure it out and to deal with whatever situation arises. This is very similar, and this is why I have it on the moving channel. Moving out, it's part of it, but moving, it's unpredictable. And this goes for every sort of move. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You can do all the research, you can do all the planning, you can do all the nice things, you can have the job, you can have the checklists and all this stuff, but there's going to be something that's going to throw you off. There's going to be surprises and all these sort of things. You cannot plan for everything. The most reliable resource you have is yourself. And you have to, in order to maintain living on your own, you have to have faith in your ability to figure it out, be resourceful, adapt, and keep moving forward, and to deal with stressful situations. Now, to what degree you have that, that's up for grabs, but you gotta be able to have that to some sort of degree. Otherwise, the first time something happens that throws you off, it's going to create a ripple effect, and then you'll be back either living with your parents or roommate situation or what have you, which there's a reason why you're leaving that to begin with, right? Aside from that, there's of course the safe things you could do. I'm not really going to go into the basic stuff, the savings. There's some things that really stand out because me, I'm not the biggest planner. I'm going to be forthright in saying that. I rambunctiously go into a thing. I'm a classic entrepreneur. So take what I have to say with a grain of salt, do with it as you please. Yes, you have utilities. Each apartment has their own different utilities, they have all these trash fees. The most important thing you could do when you're budgeting and planning is to leave buffer. I do this with everything from getting places on time to budgeting my finances to all of the above. This is why I really am particular about communication, because I love to make sure that me and you are on the same page when we communicate. If I make a statement or a request, I like to make sure that I have confirmation that it was received and understood. And that's a great thing to do as you're doing business with people, like getting your first apartment. Make sure to be friendly with the people when you're moving into the office. Be friendly with them. even if they may be a bit of a pain to deal with sometimes. Be cordial with them. With this apartment that I'm in right now, one of the first things that I did was after I moved in, I think it was the first or the second Monday, I actually bought the office donuts. And whenever the maintenance guy comes over, I like to chat him up a little bit, just to, how's the property doing, et cetera, et cetera. And when I go into the office with the issue, I like to go and chit chat with them. It's just sort of that rapport building, your environment. This is your environment. This is where you're living, right? So you want to make sure that all those things are sort of maintained so that the place that you go and you live in are managed into quality, because along this process of living on your own, stress maintenance is a part of the gig. You got to maintain and manage your own stress levels, because if you're too stressed, you're not going to feel like working. Work is going to dwindle down, and the list goes on, right? So leave your buffer. I know I was that's where I was talking about is leave your buffer in your finances. So, for example, right now my base rent is I think 1,100 or something like that, and then you got fees, and fees usually end up being like 12, two extra 200 or something like that. Then you got internet, and then all my other rent bills. Anyway, I think it only comes out to like 13 or something like that. But in my mind, I round up to 1,500. And if I have a bill, let's say it's $20, I round that up in my mind to $50. Or and I do that with everything. If something is 150, 120, I round it up to 150. And so then I have my goal on what I want to make. And then I list all the other things. And then I have a spreadsheet where I have everything calculated, and I have dates that certain things are about. And I'm not saying you got to go that far. I also have my debt and what debts I need to pay. And I have a calculator. And whenever I make a payment, I deduct it. I have a total debt. I have rent and the total there. And I did a lot of that because I have a business. I have more, I guess, transactions that go on. And so I sort of track that. But uh, so buffer, maintain stress, and live within or ideally under your means. On a regular basis, I'll go through and I'll look at my subscriptions on my phone, subscriptions online, whether it's YouTube, Netflix, etc., etc. Just recently, I got rid of Pandora. I'm a big music listener, and I got rid of Pandora and transitioned over into YouTube Music because I was paying for YouTube Premium, which includes YouTube Music, which is ad free. I was paying for the ad free for Pandora, but I was like, if I'm going to be paying for both of these, it doesn't really make sense. So I just dropped the Pandora. I adapted to YouTube Music. It's just little things like this. Me, I cook at home. Why? Because it's much cheaper to go to the grocery store. I can eat nicer, and I learned a new skill. So I now know how to cook. If I have company over, I can cook for them. And yeah, and then plus I save, I eat healthier because what I cook at home is going to be healthier than what I would eat whenever I'm eating out at fast food restaurants. And then now fast food or dining out becomes an experience. It becomes a treat. And I can use the money that I save from that into the other areas, and the list goes on. So you may have to do without some of the luxuries that you used to have in order to make rent, but do that accordingly, right? One thing that I would say that most of you are going to have that I never really had on a consistent basis, I did for maybe a couple years after I moved out, maybe 2, 3 years. I actually worked a 9 to 5 job, and I was working warehouse, and warehouse maybe like 3 to 5. I don't know. But after that, I started my first business, and then door to door sales, and then another business. And I say that because during all of that process, and even to now, my income is not set in stone, especially with the moving business, because right now is our slow season, right? So that means business dwindles off a little bit. And so if I don't maintain my living expenses and make sure that I'm spending wisely, I don't really know when my next check is coming or what my next check looks like. And so, if I'm not very meticulous about planning and budgeting and making sure that I'm being logical with how I spend my money, then I'd easily be out of here. And so, I want you to keep that in mind, that you got to kind of ride that fine line, that balance, and that these are the core principles. These are the core things that you need in order to not only move out on your own, the mindset, the trust in yourself, so that you know that you're capable, at least confident in yourself, to be able to handle and deal with the unexpected. Then when you're out, budgeting yourself so that you have a buffer, so that you know, okay, cool. With my buffer, rent, bills, expenses, car insurance, etc., fees, and other. I also like to include an other in there, and I'll round it up. So let's say that bills buffered comes out to 2,200 a month or something like that, or 2,500 a month. Then I'll round that up to 3,000 a month. And so as long as what income is 3,000, then I'm covered. And I have my expenses and luxuries already broken down into that. And I can play with it from there. But from there, also cutting back, being able to cut back on, like I said, combining, looking at my expenses. Okay, this, and this I'm not using. I can cut those. And I can cut money by not running the AC whenever I'm not here, or by cooking at home and teaching myself. Like, for example, I know this may be a little far, but the cost of my salad dressing just went up. And for a little, I don't know, is it 12, 16 ounce or something like that? It now costs damn near $6 for a little thing of ranch dressing for the brand that I like. And so I got some ingredients literally in my fridge right now, and I'm going to start making my own. I can have more, I could be a little less stringent with it. I teach myself to make things from the root, and I learned a new skill, save some money in the meanwhile, because the little things add up. And that's another key thing, is that the little expenses will surprise you. If you're sitting there and you're getting fast food here and there, or certain things like that. I used to do this a lot, especially whenever I did door to door sales. is we used to go out in the field, and we used to go and eat fast food a lot, gas stations, from the drinks to going to the fast food spots. They typically go to some of the nicer spots, and that crap was just costing. And sure, so you could say, oh yeah, just make more. Cool. Well, I can make more and then spend less, and then I have more freedom with my money. I can spend it on ways to invest in taking control over my finances. So that's what I've always kind of done. So a lot of my disposable income goes into investments into the future, whether it is investments in the stock or whether it's investment in something that could pay out or bring more business or what have you. Right. So thinking long run. But when I was running through my expenses and how much I was spending on fast food at that time, I realized that it was significantly cheaper to make my own lunch, bring it. So I got the lunch box, I got the bread, all that stuff, and I was eating good. And I made my own sandwich. I brought it with me, brought my own juice. I brought a 6 pack, and I just brought it with me. And if you don't want to do those things, then you may have to do them currently. It's a process, right? I would much rather spend, I do a lot of these things not always because I have to financially, but because I would rather spend my money elsewhere as opposed to having little luxuries like the $6 salad dressing. I'm like, look, I'd much rather save that money. If I get the salad dressing, let's say in a month, I may spend, we'll just say $15 on it, right? 18. We'll just say I get 3 bottles a month and it's $18, but I'm able to make that same amount with only $10 of ingredients. Or maybe with that same $18, I'm able to make maybe a 3 month supply of salad dressing with that same $18. Then that's a whole nother almost $40 that I could spend on other things. I could do a subscription to something. Anyway, um I kind of went off track, but uh the most honestly, the most important thing is this: is you got to have faith in yourself. You got to be budget conscious and just be wise with your money, with your dollars, and then make more money, right? Always seek to advance and play with it. Just be flexible, and again, take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a little more risk adverse. So just keep that in mind, right? If you're a safety nut, you might want to go and seek some other advice. I would suggest there's a lot of advice from like Reddit. There's a lot of forums on Reddit about moving out for the first time. A lot of people posting, and just do some research and you'll be okay. Living on your own, it's nice. It's yeah, it's nice. I love it. I appreciate it. And I wish you all the best in this pursuit to independent living. And I trust you. I believe that you can do it. And if you need any moving resources along the way, please check out our website, manandali.com. If you need guidance in that process, the moving process, not the physical moving process, not a guidance counselor in the process, then we have that for you where we help you save money. through that process. But of course, that's an investment. But subscribe, like, share, engage, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great move and enjoy living on your own.